Hello and welcome back to Art Club. So we are on day 2 of creating these snow globes. So last time we should have made prints like this out of our bubble wrap. So we have to have that ready to go. Some other things to grab before we get officially started here. We're going to want to make sure we have our space set up for painting, kind of like I have here. You can see I've got my paper bag down. I like to use parchment paper, but a plate would work, a water dish, paint brushes, your paint, of course, we're going to need that. And something that's a little different that we're going to need for today, there it is, I couldn't find it for a second, is some sort of a round object that's between 4 and 6 inches across, okay? I'm using just a cereal bowl. Maybe you've got like a soup mug or just a regular mug. Maybe you've got, oh, like we went to Costco last night and we got these cashews with a lid that screws off the top of it. That's really nice and big. You could use something like that. So go ahead and take a pause. Go check out, usually your kitchen has a lot of round objects that will work well for this. Go find something that is between 4 and 6 inches across. Pause this and come back once you got that. Okay, so now that we've got our bowl or whatever you're using as your own object ready to go, obviously we're going to need our paper, right, that we printed last time. We're also going to need something to write with. A pencil is great for you. I'm going to use a pen just so it's a little easier to see on the camera. And we're going to need some scissors today and some tape or glue. I'll be using glue. We'll also want to finish our project with decorating it, so markers or crayons, anything like that would work for that portion of it. So quite a few supplies for today, and like I said, if you need to pause this at any point, rewind, feel free to do so. So what I'm going to do with my round object, this is kind of a cheat way that I found to make really nice round objects, because it's sometimes hard to draw perfectly round with our hand, right? Draw it like free-handed because of just the mechanics of how our wrist goes. So I have found that, you know, just setting something down like this, and I'm going to try to get it as close to the edges as I possibly can. Like I said, I'm going to be using a pen for this, but you guys go ahead and use a pencil. I just want to make sure you can see it on the camera. So I'll make mine nice and dark for you all. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. Let me set this out of the way. And now we've got to cut it out. If you have room, you could actually even make a second one. If you want to do 2 of our snow globe projects today, you could also do a big one and a smaller one if you can't quite fit 2 of that larger size. So maybe you've got a bowl and a mug. Maybe 2 different size snow globes you'll make. Totally up to you, but you will probably have some leftover paper, so if you want to have even more art fun, I'm here for it. You can totally go ahead and do that. Alright, I'm going to cut this out, and you can cut yours out as well. And once again, feel free to pause if you need a little bit more time and all. I'm going to set that off to the side, and my next thing is going to be getting out a piece of white paper. Okay, I'm going to fold this piece of white paper in half because we're not going to need the full sheet. So I'll just fold this like that. And I'm going to cut this in half. So here we go. Getting those scissors back out. And we'll cut that piece of paper in half. I can set this half aside for another day. We don't need that right now. And we're going to focus on using this half. I'm going to fold it in half one more time. We're creating the base for our snow globe stand here. There we go. And I'm going to cut that as well. There we go. And if you've made 2, you're going to do this to both of them. I'm just going to show one in the video. just because we don't need to have the video go longer than it needs to. Alright, so I'm going to be making this look a little bit more like how a snow globe stand would actually look. Right now that looks a little bit boxy and not quite right. So I'm going to cut a U shape into both the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to draw this to kind of show you what it will look like. So sort of like that and like this. So if you want to draw it on yours first before cutting, you definitely can, but you don't have to. You could just start by cutting it right on out. Just kind of giving that rounded look like how a snow globe stand would have. So there's the top, and here comes the bottom. And then if you notice, it still might possibly look a little bit sharp on those edges. You could leave it like this, or if you want to, you can also choose to kind of round out those edges a bit too if you feel like it's looking a little too sharp on yours. So you can always round those out, maybe even down here round it a little bit. Just give it more of a soft edge to it. Sort of like that. Whenever you've got that ready to go, you can glue it or tape it on down to your snow globe. I might actually put it this way to help. I notice mine is curling a little bit, so I might give it a little bit of a hug in the other direction to help uncurl it a bit there. That way it's sitting a little nicer. And once again, you can glue or tape. It can be liquid glue or a glue stick. Go ahead and glue it on down to your base. Just like that. Alright, I'm going to put the cap back on my glue so it doesn't dry out. And now I want to paint on here anywhere between 1 and 3 snowmen, however many you like and however many you can fit. It'll kind of depend on the size of your snow globe. So I've got my paintbrush out here. I've got my paint ready to go. If you don't have your paint out yet, no big deal. Go ahead and just put a little squirt of paint on your plate or parchment paper, whatever you're using for putting your paint onto. And here we go. If you want to even paint a little bit of a ground to your snowman scene, you definitely can. There we go. Look at that cute little snowman and a snow globe. Adorable. We're going to let this dry for a little bit. So if you even want to pause and come back, you totally can. Or if you want to just get the directions now and then do it later. From here, really what we're going to do is let this dry. Once again, you can do anywhere between 1 and 3 little snowmen. But once they are dry, you can go ahead and decorate. Add some fun to it, right? I'm just going to set this on the black paper so it's a little easier and cleaner to see.